What is it with Heineke and Terry McLaurin that make them such a good duo? Like, you've seen his numbers spike when he's playing with you.
Obviously, McLaurin is a really good player. I think that, as a young quarterback, he said, I'm going to trust that guy. It's a good decision for him. I'd probably do the same thing, throw it to him a lot, try to get him the ball in space and down the field and let him create. He's a dynamic guy, and we'll have our hands full again with him.
How much more difficult has it made it not having Adoree when you play these top receivers?
Obviously, you'd love to be full strength when you play anybody. But, each week we have who we have. We got to figure it out. That's where we are. We got to figure out a way to beat this team without Adoree, because he won't be available. And the guys that play, we expect to go play hard, play well.
Rodarius intercepted a ball in Dallas, and you guys haven't intercepted too many passes, but then he comes back out of the lineup. Just curious what he has to do to get back in and why that decision.
Again, each week, you try to put together the best group of guys to go play. He's always in the mix for that. It hasn't worked out that he's been playing a lot, and for him, he's just got to stay ready for when his opportunity comes again, that he is ready and he steps up and he makes plays. He's doing a good job of that through the week, every day coming to work being better than the day before.
How much of a feel can develop with the matchups of these two games so close together, where your corners get a feel for how they set up routes, they get a feel for how your corners, set up certain leverages and stuff like that, and how could that impact what's going to happen?
Obviously, division opponent, so we see them a lot on crossover tape. So like they're familiar with us, we're familiar with them. It's going to be about who executes at the highest level. I don't know if we're going to fool them a lot with what we do. I don't think they're going to fool us a lot with what they do and how they do what they do. It's just going to be about execution, and that's, this time of year especially, who executes at the highest level with the guys they have. To the point that we're going to be without some starting corners. I'm sure they're going to have some players out as well. It's in this part of the season, which team can get their guys to execute at the highest level. We're going to try to do that. We've had a good week of practice so far and executed well. We hope to take that momentum into the game and to go play our best game.
Yeah, I just kind of meant more like the little things, like players picking up tendencies, like, not even like scheming things up and trying to fool them. Just, players just, when you play basketball, you play a guy one-on-one, you play him a few times, you get a feel for what his moves are, what he likes to do, how he likes to go about his business. Do you sense the players going up against each other, going to kind of
I think
that sense?
The players are always digging for that little edge of, is there any tell in this split?
Right,
is there
right,
any
exactly.
tell in the nuances of how he starts his release? Guys are always searching for that, and we've got guys who really study and prepare, so absolutely they're searching for it, and hopefully they find those things that help them, especially in critical moments.
Is that something they find maybe on their own studying film, or you kind of point out?
Both.
Okay.
I think our process is for me to bring out things that I see, but I'm looking at the total pass game. And you'll find sometimes that players, because they're studying just a guy or just a side of the field, they find sometimes things that I don't see because they are so laser focused on just one aspect of the pass game. So they will often find things that and give me information that I didn't know, and I'm all the time giving them information, trying to help them play and help them see it, help them understand how to see it.
I don't know if you'll answer this, but I guess what have they noticed about maybe Terry or?
He's really good. He's really good. He's just one of those players that competes at every time he goes really hard. He's really talented, and when you put those two together, it's going to be a hard day for us to go handle him and take him away. We'll give our best effort to go do that. And again, hopefully we play our best game Sunday night.
Having Belly back, I guess what that's been like for game planning and just getting him back into I guess 2 parts, getting him back in the groove a little bit.
Well, I mean, he's a guy who's earned some trust, particularly with the play caller and the quarterback. Mm-hmm. And so from a game planning standpoint, whenever you have trust from those 2 people, you have an opportunity. What that means. When are you in those situations? Those plays get called. I mean, that's all part of the flow of the game. But he's a trusted guy, and that's a good thing.
You mentioned we were talking I think like a month or so ago about that trust, and just kind of building on that. When did you really see that kick in with him?
We all kind of joke here internally that when he ran that ball in London. Okay. It kind of was a cross the threshold moment for him. Like that was a difficult play. I mean, he was supposed to throw that ball, but then it was an oddball look. He made the decision to keep it, run it. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into that. And when you make that kind of play in a moment like that, there's some trust that's earned. And then the weeks that followed that, I think you saw more of him doing things that were trustworthy, and then he got hurt, unfortunately. But he was really on an ascending schedule, which was fun to watch.
In terms of him getting hurt and then coming back, I guess, how did you see him take advantage, but at least being forced to sit out a little bit? I
was really impressed with him mentally he didn't miss a meeting that he could be at. I mean, there was a period of time when he was recovering from the injury that they didn't want him in meetings because of the injury. But once he could be in a meeting, he was completely on it, even though he knew he wasn't going to play for 2 or 3 weeks. And I think there was some mental grasping that slowed down for him, and that I think you see in his play going forward. I think you'll see that. He took full advantage of that. He didn't come back out of shape. He didn't come back out of mind. He came back, that first week ready to play, and he played a lot of plays.
Yeah. He mentioned the mental difficulties have been I guess the biggest challenge adjusting to the pro level. I'm sure he's not alone in that, but
yeah, I mean he's a smart guy. Anything that showed up in his space on a mental negativity would have been like rookie mini camp. Like you got the full fire hose going. Like open up the playbook and just pour the fire hose in your mouth and like, whoa, where'd this all come from? Where'd this all come from, right? But as he's grown through the process, mentally sharp, on top of things, and willing and able to adjust in the moment, which is positive.
Has really sort of stuck out and gotten really comfortable. Can you just see from the beginning of the season to where he is now on the improvements you've seen out of Daniel's game so far?
Yeah, I think the biggest improvement I've seen out of Daniel is just he's done a really good job with his decision making, which is, the job of a quarterback is make good decisions and lead your team down to score points. So always working on that, always trying to improve it. How can we be better? Even when we make a good decision, is there an even better decision? So just that from the beginning of the season till now has been really good by him, and really happy with him where he's been with that.
When he has success running the ball against the team, I know how much does that change when you play them the second time? Because you expect teams, okay, now they're going to pay specific attention to it, and then you try to work the next step off that?
Yeah,
what's the approach when you face that situation?
I would say it's always, kind of the game within the game when you play division opponents. You're always going to know them the best, and they're always going to know you the best. So, what things do you see this game that you didn't see last time you played them? What do you expect them to do and make their adjustments off of that? And then, kind of that cat and mouse game that you play with them and all that. I don't think it'll be anything really totally different from Daniel's mentality or, from his thought process. A lot of times if it's there, you use your legs. And if it's not, you make the decision otherwise with a throwaway or a good decision to keep your eyes downfield and scramble. So it's nothing different than what we've done, for the first 13, 14 games.
Shea, what would you say about the quarterback room as a whole? It strikes me that with Davis and Tyrod, they bring different levels of experience to the room, but all three are pretty accomplished in their own right.
Yes. Yeah, they are. It's a fun room to be a part of. It's a very fun room to be a part of first. Just they're definitely 3 different personalities, and that's the best part of it, because you don't have, it's not 3 guys sitting there ever saying the same exact thing, which helps the discussion, helps the experience. It helps Daniel because he hears it from different perspectives. A guy like Tyrod, who's started in the league for a number of years, been to the playoffs, that experience helps him. And then Davis brings a unique perspective because he's been in the offense for 3-4 years. He's operated it at a high level in the preseason this year, did a really good job. So not only telling Daniel, hey, this is what's happened before, but then Daniel got a chance to see it. So it helped from those 2 perspectives. A guy who had done it at a high level in terms of being in the playoffs and being in different systems and having different experiences, and then a guy who had actually done it in the offense. I think that was a really good mix between the 2.
Do you think personality-wise they have probably more fun amongst each other than they would ever let us believe?
Yeah, I think so.
Or is
Probably.
it not necessarily a real
No,
problem?
I think so. I mean, not necessarily that they wouldn't let you guys see it. It's just we're in there so much together.
Yeah.
We spend so much time together. It becomes like a family. So everybody's little quirks and their little ticks, if you will, for lack of a better term. Sometimes it's good to joke around with each other. Somebody's like they got that little annoyed look, so you can mess around with them to get it out of it. Like they have a really good feel between those 3 to go ahead and do that.
Now that you know Davis a little bit, does it surprise you or not that Buffalo actually tried to hire him as a coach, and he obviously chose to come here as a player?
It doesn't surprise me at all. The thing for Davis that I'm happy about for him is he knew he wasn't ready for that. He wanted to still play, and he came and played and did a great job in the preseason, operating the offense. I was really happy for him for that. And I was happy for him for the fact that he kind of knew, okay, that, coaching is there, but I'm not ready for that. Like, I'm still ready to go give this my shot. And he did a great job with it. Really proud of him. Happy for him, just being around him for 4 or 5 years now. We've been able to get pretty close and have a lot of those discussions, quite frankly, and he just did a great job with it. I'm happy for him.
Over the years, just having short conversations at different spots with Tyrod, I mean, is there like a, I don't know, more humble, just kind of good guy?
No, there really isn't. You can set your watch by Tyrod every day. He's consistent. What he's going to do. He's going to be in there at 6 a.m. working out. Probably should be a better influence on me with that. He's tried to rub off on me in a good way with that. But no, humble, smart, has a really good perspective on things. Like, that's the thing that I always appreciate about Tyrod is he's never too high, never too low. He's got a really good view of the overall thing. So you really respect a guy like that. You appreciate that opinion from a guy who it's coming from a place of really good thought.
Leonard's been in and out of the lineup. Do you think it has helped Dexter sort of find himself a little bit more as not having to lean more on Leonard's leadership?
No, I don't think they had anything to do with it at all. No, they're tied at the hips. They're good buddies. But Dexter's his own man, and he's been that way since the first day I got here. You know what I mean?
He's flourished this year.
And he's, he's been really good at trying to, master the techniques and fundamentals that we're teaching. And he can see that his game is different than Leo's game. And he has to play his game in his realm in order for him to be successful. If he tries to play his game the way Leo plays his game, he's not going to be the same player. And so I think that was one of the first conversations that he and I had, that he's got to understand who Dexter Lawrence is and play within himself of the gifts that he was given and not try to be like anyone else.
The fact that, Leo has been out a little bit and Dexter has been there the whole time and Kayvon has been in and out and Kayvon looks like he's starting to find his fitting. Do you ever have those moments saying, man, if we just get everybody here at one shot, what this could be?
Yeah, it would have been great to have Dex, Leo, Kayvon, and Aziz all out there together. But as many NFL seasons as I've been through, it's part of what goes along with the territory, and that's why you have to coach them all, because at some point you're gonna need them all. So, you really don't sit around and I wish that you got to let it go, and you move on, and you focus on getting the guys who are going to go out there to play better, to play to the best of their abilities.
And as far as Kayvon's concerned, can you say a couple things that he's improved on tremendously since the beginning of the season?
I think he's starting to get a feel for how the NFL game is played. How the tackles are going to try to block him in pass protection. How they're going to change up their sets and change what they do with their hands, and for him to have an answer for each one of those. And I think he's done a good job of maturing that way. And I think the guys, the older guys have done a good job helping bringing him along. Dex, Leo, those, and Hottie, those guys have done a good job help bringing him along.
So, thank you.
I thought you guys did a great job against Washington 2 weeks ago, setting up one-on-ones. Aziz got the guard one-on-one. You got a lot of edge guys on tight ends one-on-one, and that created a lot of the pressure, right? Mm-hmm. Now that they've seen some of that, are there little subtle things you can change so you can kind of try to continue to set those? I'm sure they're going to adjust so they don't get into those matchups, right? Mm-hmm. So are there different ways that you can do it that they haven't seen before?
Well, that's where Wink's the master. He's gonna have some things that they haven't seen, and anticipate what they may do, and that's where Wink is great at what he does, and I think there's going to be some adjustments that we'll have, and again, all that goes to Wink.
And then I got to imagine too, right? The guys have different plans based on who they get. Like I know on the Aziz play on the guard, he's like, well, I'm longer than this guy, so he kind of long armed him in the chest and he got around him, right? So then, do they kind of have to adjust on the fly based on who's there, exactly what they're going to try to do?
Yeah, now we do that with I do that with the D linemen all the time. You can't rush them all the same, right? So, the guys do a good job of studying. Okay, what does the right guard do? What does he do with his feet? What does he do with his hands? How deep is he in his set? Okay, then the center, then the guard. So as they line up on a guy, they adjust their rush plan on each guy that they're going up against, because you can't rush them all the same, because each guy's different.